Hello, this is Kurt Wallner. In all my researches of the White House, I've discovered that there are two kinds of rooms there. There are rooms for talking, and there are rooms for eating. What we know today as the state dining room in the southwest corner of the first floor was initially used by President Thomas Jefferson as his inner sanctum and office, as shown in this modern painting. Jefferson's dining room was in the northwest corner, or for smaller dinners, he used what is today's green room. What we know today as the state dining room was restrained in its position because of its position south of what was the main stair. This shot made during the Harrison administration shows the stairs against the Palladian window. President Theodore Roosevelt hired architect Charles McKim to make many alterations to the White House in 1902. Tasked with expanding the state dining room, he ingeniously expanded the room north where the main stair was, which he moved to the east side of the entrance hall. Additionally, there is another dining room right adjacent to the state dining room called the family dining room, and it's just to the north. And I wanted to include both of these rooms in one drawing. So it's time to eat them up. It's been a long time since I've gone over this material, but when I do these drawings, I focus on the floor plans of just the rooms that I want to draw, in this case the state dining room and the family dining room and the butler's pantry that's next to it. And then I determine what my point of view is going to be. So I want to look at these things from the west, looking toward the east and looking down at both of the rooms. And I grid everything off and develop a perspective cage of that grid. Then, utilizing the gridded off floor plan, I now have the grid for the floor plan in perspective the way I want it. So I draw the floor plan in the perspective grid. So once I have the floor plan where I want it to be, this shows me where the bottom of all the walls go, and the grid is only as tall as the rooms are. So I begin by extruding the walls of the family dining room. They seem to be fairly easy, and I want an easy victory here at the beginning, and rendering around the fireplace and so on is a fairly easy task. After getting all that done, I start in on the impossibility of all the paneling in the state dining room itself. Just incredibly precise work. I had a lot of trouble with this because all of the pilasters, or is it pilasters? I've heard it pronounced both ways. All of the pilasters they need to be exactly spaced the same distance apart from one another, and it's very challenging to do that. Certainly the toughest thing to draw in this whole thing is the huge chandelier in the state dining room. I dug up the best picture that I could find, the most high-resolution picture, and then did my own analysis of just exactly what's going on here. And it boiled down to my tracing the different arms of the lamp in different colors. And by this method, I was able to do a top-down plan of how many arms stick out from the central thing and where they are and how, like what their shape is and things like that. And this allowed me to begin drawing the thing in perspective. The first thing that I had to do with the chandelier is figure out how big it is. Like how far from the ceiling does it extend down into the room. And once I have that idea, once I know that, then I can divide the rest of it up and draw it in perspective. I made a separate perspective cage for it and hung that up on top of my raised roof, and like that. I like to work on elaborate things like this on separate sheets of paper, and I don't want to trace it, so I mortise cut the drawing into the bigger drawing. A boo-boo I sometimes make is in my zeal to work from the back to the front. I lose track of the things in the foreground that I want to draw. This holds true here for the exterior of the west wall of the residence. So I've drawn it on a separate piece of paper, and now I have to cut them together. In the Don't Let This Happen to You department, I had drawn the spiral staircase going from the butler's pantry to the pastry pantry. I had drawn the spiral staircase the wrong direction. And it's not just a matter of flipping it over and tracing it the other way. You have to draw it in perspective. In my review of a lot of the old photographs of the White House, I did stumble across this really wonderful picture. I don't know whether it's in the East Room or the State Dining Room, but it shows a semicircular table, and I had read that this semicircular table was made up of a bunch of sections, and that they had it at the White House for years and years and years until they finally got rid of it. And I really loved the idea of a semicircular table, so I decided to put it into my composition here. The way to get the table into the drawing is to map the table out on a floor plan of the room, and then that shows me where the table goes exactly, and like where the chairs go and all that kind of thing. And then it's just a matter of drawing it in. I drew in all of the tableware and so on in this drawing in ink, so that I could have a fighting chance of being able to see through it when it comes time to doing the render, when I backlight everything. Pencil, you can see it, but if you ink it in, it's much more visible. So, after all this time, and God only knows how many hamburgers and French fries later, the dining rooms are penciled in and ready for the inking and coloring, which is what we're going to be doing in our next episode. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel if you would. Until next time, thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.